Swapping status describes the affairs where, let's say, for example, a husband and a wife come to Hong Kong. The husband gets an employment visa and the wife gets a dependent visa. Because the dependent visa allows the wife to work with no further questions asked by the immigration department about that ability for the dependent visa holder to do the work, that spouse in this instance can go off and can get a job. So now let's say that 2 or 3 years roll by, the principal employment visa holder and the spouse who's holding the dependent visa are essentially living their lives, both reporting to work each day, and then suddenly the principal employment visa holder gets made redundant. So what we're left with is the dependent visa, that's the spouse who's in a sense the only person that's making any money for that family right now, and they're there as a dependent visa holder. Ironically, even though the dependent visa holder is the breadwinner now in these circumstances, that dependent visa can only be extended on the basis that the principal employment visa holder can get an extension to his employment visa. However, he's lost his job. Their visas are about to expire. What do they do in order to be able to remain in Hong Kong? Well, essentially what they do is they swap status. So the dependent visa holder who's got a job, she can then make an application to the immigration department to adjust her status from dependent through to employment, and on the basis that she's a professional and her compensation is broadly commensurate with market rates, 9 times out of 10 the immigration department allow, in this scenario, this lady to convert her status from dependent visa through to employment visa. And by the same token, the redundant spouse who used to be the employment visa holder goes through the process of now being sponsored for a dependent visa by his wife while she goes through the processes of getting her own employment visa. So there they are swapping status. And clearly, once the spouse, the principal ex-employment visa holder, has now got a dependent visa, he's able to be lawfully employable and can take up any employment to join in a business or do anything that's lawful. And then here, the spouse that used to have the dependent visa is now sponsored by an employer in Hong Kong, has an employment visa, and is lawfully able to take up that employment and only that employment alone on those terms and conditions that were extended to her as part of her application for an employment visa. And so she becomes the employment visa holder. The ex-principal employment visa holder is now a dependent visa holder. So they've swapped status.